Hello, it is Thursday, February 1st, 2024. I'm Chris Primo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Thursday crossword today, which means we're going to be solving what should be an interestingly themed crossword. And this interestingly themed edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Aaron Spiller, the Lake House Bros, Adam and Annette Noble, and as always, the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the four of them. They're benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, which means they are bringing us this series day in, day out. I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much to them and to everybody who's a backer of the Patreon campaign. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field. There you will find the bonus videos available to patrons, which includes a solve of a cryptic crossword, a Times, that is the Times of London, quick cryptic. So they're gentler. They publish 2 cryptic crosswords every day, and the quick cryptic is the slightly gentler one. I solved that on the Patreon channel and decided to do it with a little bit less of the extremely in-depth explanation that I do on the publicly posted cryptic crossword solve. So if you're interested in that, it's on the Patreon channel now. There's also, of course, the official mug for benefactors. Thanks again to everybody who backs the Patreon campaign. And thanks as well if you support the channel in other ways, like subscribing on YouTube, commenting on the videos, liking the videos. Those things are all very helpful. And finally, there's the Daily Solve Discord chat server, a nice friendly chat community you can find in a description field link as well. All right, great. Let's get on to the puzzle. This is a construction by Simeon Siegel, who's responsible for about a dozen puzzles for the New York Times. It was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see how we get on and see what... Oh, right, okay. I was going to say, see what the theme's all about. We can already see some circled sort of quad arrangements of cells in the grid. Okay, anyway, let's start solving. Zeros in soccer. Nils, I suppose, for a zero score. Is that not used in other sports? Comedic, maybe, I guess it's not. Comedic takedown, a roast, probably. You roast somebody, you sort of, insult them in a loving manner. If something includes something, it has it. There might be other possibilities, so let's look at the crosses. Journey of the mind. Not sure. Here, to have no co-conspirators would be to act alone in a crime, for instance, and to gradually transition in art. Not sure. What about this? Lead into side, ecocide, sort of environmental damage. And then organization whose initials emit its E for explosives. What on earth is that about? Organization whose initials omit its E. Oh, ATF, alcohol. Oh, okay. I think this came up recently, and I didn't comment on it because it didn't occur to me. But I think ATF, which I think of as alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the U.S. federal government agency that investigates such crimes. There was something about how they would respond to something related to explosives. And I remember thinking, oh, it's funny that that's not in the name, but I don't think I've mentioned it. I wonder if it's this. Are they actually alcohol, tobacco, explosives, and firearms, or firearms and explosives, or something like that? They must be. Anyway, journey of the mind. Head trip, maybe. I'm sort of like how CDC is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, but they don't have that P in there. Anyway, gradual transition in art. Soft something? Soft... fade? Soft fade in art. I guess in the sense of if you're blending colors and you have a soft fade. Although this doesn't look very good. Resolve. Okay, maybe not. Former Yankee nickname. Okay, well, I know this at the very least from encountering it in crosswords. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, I believe, former Yankee baseball player. So gradual transition in art. A soft edit, maybe? Q procedure. No, it's still not that. Still not that. Because P, this is P, I think. I believe these are, if you were to spell out the way it sounds to pronounce a letter of the alphabet. Oh, wait, no. No, that's not right either. P doesn't come before C. What, Q? Oh, no, Q, yes. PQ, I was right. Sorry, I just had a strange blip there where I interpreted Q as being the letter C, which it obviously isn't. It's the letter Q. Okay, so soft edge. Maybe that's finally what this is. Soft edge, a gradual transition in art. And then that would make this circled thing dong, maybe? I'm not sure if that's how we're meant to read this or if it means something else. We'll find out eventually. If something's only happening marginally, it's just happening a tad, maybe. And first Muslim Nobel laureate, 1978, Sadat. There we go. I think actually, I don't remember this necessarily being a sort of constant crossword answer, but he was in there a couple of times within the last 6 months, maybe. Like the responses of yes or no. Terse, maybe? If someone asks you a detailed question and all you say is no, that would be a very terse answer. Resolve, to settle something, to pay a bill, perhaps, or to settle an argument. Brotherly greeting would be brotherly greeting. Could be brother, obviously, as in a member of your family. Could be brother in the sense of a member of a religious order. Could be just a friend. I don't know. Okay, appeal as for peace, to sue for peace, as they say, to attempt to work out some kind of compromise. Arthur with a statue on Richmond's Monument Avenue. Arthur Ashe, it must be. I'm not sure. I don't have the context for what would for this location, but I'm sure that is the case. Okay, if one is not snookered by, if one is on to something, you're aware of what's going on. For something to happen next, it will ensue. It will happen next. And a winged mammal with rust-colored fur, a red something probably, rust-colored. A little bit of everything. This, that, and the other? Oh, right, I see how we read this. We go around in a circle and we come back. So, yeah, so this will be TH and then I and then S, and then it loops back around to the TH. So this, that, and then TH down to the E, back to the O, and back to the TH again to make this, that, and the other, or that and there, which is basically unpronounceable in any kind of meaningful way. All right, great. So there we go. And presumably that won't be no, that doesn't happen with the other answers that cross these, because a rod was normal. And instrument with a bell, an oboe. There we go. The bell of the oboe. That is a term. And then winged mammal with rust-colored fur is a red bat, maybe? Bats are mammals, so that would make sense. And then bean or noodle, your head, maybe your nog, for your noggin. Is that a phrase? Character with a famous opening line, question mark. Question mark. So it's presumably not meaning the opening line of a book, because the question mark indicates something punny, but I'm not sure what it is. Okay, what about these? One named singer with the 2016 #1 hit Cheap Thrills. I don't know, but my assumption is it's Sia, S-I-A, because she just comes up in the crossword all the time these days. It's just, there's some names that are very easy to fit into crossword grids, and that's one. But I don't actually know, so I'll wait for now. Past post wager at the track. Past post, a late bet maybe? It's past when you were supposed to post it. I'm not sure if there's a more specific meaning to that phrase, but it seems like that's what it would be. If one's up the creek, one's you're in trouble. You're in a bog, in a mess, in a fix, maybe. And here we have peak of Revelation, Sinai. Okay, there we go. So, where Moses is said to have been given the commandments. So this is yeah. Okay, good. There we go. Ex nihilo, from nothing in Latin. Obviously, nihilo, root of words like nihilism and things like this. And lousy with, if something's lousy with something, it's rife with it. There's lots of it. This crossword is lousy with letters going into the grid. Okay, up the creek. And it probably is an affix. It starts with an F, it must be. And then exposes personal information about online informally, doxes. If you dox someone, you sort of release their documents, which I think is where that word comes from. Okay, very valuable violin informally, a Stradivarius violin. I'm always amazed at some of the instruments. Violin, I think it seems to be most common with violinists to play with instruments that are, sometimes 400 years old. I mean, it's really extraordinary. It's just can't imagine what that must feel like to interact with something in that way, of that type. Anyway, bean or noodle, right? Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no, knob, your head, your bean, your noodle. Okay, there we go. That's what it is. Because this is Alibaba, character with a famous opening line, right? And of course, in Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, I guess he says, open sesame to open the cave. Okay, there we go. So that's his famous opening line. Me too, as do I, or as am I. You never know with this kind of phrase. You just need to wait and get it with the crosses, but it probably ends in I. Crown in Persian. Oh, interesting. Well, this is probably as am I, because D would not work very well. What about this clue? Cured Spanish meat. Chorizo? No. I was wondering if it could curve around here, but I think those just go horizontally, and it wouldn't be the right number of letters anyway, so I don't think that's the case. I don't actually know what this is. Maybe hopefully I'll recognize it. Anyway, Indian spice mixes, masalas. There we go. Like garam masala would be sort of the top shelf spice mix. And which ones? Oh, right. And it's right. I see. And I think these circles, the answers that use them, maybe they all use two circles. So this doesn't use the circle, whereas this one will because it's part of two different circles. I think that might be how this works. 1957, hit by the Edsels with a nonsense title. Is it Shamalama Ding Dong? Yeah, that's what it'll be. Or almost. No, wait. Maybe I'm Okay, there's something about this that I'm misspelling or misremembering the syllables. Let's get some downs. Brotherly greeting. Salam? Could be. Let's try and get some more crosses. Blank Harbor, Florida. No idea. Cultured dessert option. Cultured dessert option. So something dealing with yogurt or something? Depression precursor. I'm just not seeing these things. What about this one? Sitting meditation pose. So an asana, a yoga pose. I think that's probably the answer. And a casual rejection could be nah, maybe, just a casual way to say no. Extra sweaty meditative exercise. Hot yoga, I've heard of, which I think is sort of what it sounds like. Potentially offensive, say. Not or non-PC, maybe, not politically correct. Could be a T or an N here, if that's true. Like 20 for Little League. Team size? I don't know. No idea. Like wood prepped for paper making. Pulped, maybe? Yeah, you make paper out of wood pulp, so that would make sense. Sect's symbol, question mark. So the symbol of a sect, a sort of breakaway group or something like that. Cults, or not really a symbol. Home of some of the best drivers in North America, and North is abbreviated, so that might mean the answer itself also has an abbreviation. Home of some of the best drivers. Maybe drivers meaning golf drives? Yeah, it is that. It is that. PGA Tour. There we go. I was trying to think, why would people who drive have a sort of home that's particularly specific in the sense of driving a vehicle? So then I thought maybe it's a golf course, but then it ended up being PGA Tour, and presumably there would be equivalents of this for car driving anyway. So my original thought maybe wasn't useful, but it got me to the answer, so that's fine. I guess it was useful. Risk taker's mantra in brief. Oh, whoops, I spelled pulped wrong. I spelled pupiled or something. Anyway, this is YOLO. You only live once. You might cry as you take a risk. And then sect's symbol is, a cross, in the sense that it's, it's a religious symbol, the symbol of a sect. You know, most Christian denominations would use the cross as a symbol. There we go. Okay, so like 20 for Little League. Not sure. Upside down parts of a roller coaster ride. Loop-de-loops represented twice in the answer to each of this puzzle's starred clues. Yes, so this would be loop. I think it's spelled DE loops like that. Oh, although this looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Randy looks, ogles, a sort of leer, lascivious look at somebody. And LAPD head, so this is the Los Angeles Police Department, and they don't mean the actual position at the top of the department. What they mean is simply the first word. At least I think this is what it means, the first word of what LAPD stands for, so that would just be the Los from Los Angeles. And Campus Health and Safety Organization, SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving, maybe? I've heard of MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, so this might be one of those as well. Maybe not, I don't know. This looks very strange. I must be doing something wrong here. Like 20 for Little League. Oh, too old. Right. Okay. I see. Right. Okay. It's two different words. That's why we have three O's in a row, and this is a D. Okay. If you're 20, you're too old to play Little League. That makes sense. Little League is, I think it's sort of baseball for young people. Okay. Possible hurdle for getting a master's for short. GRE, which is a test to apply to graduate school, I guess. And something middling is what, average or so-so, or gets hard to see through in a way with up. Fogs up, maybe, like a window or a windshield or something. One does impressions of someone, one apes them, imitates them. And, middling is fair, so not great, not terrible. Kind of sense, Spidey sense from the Spider-Man comics and films and things. He has some sort of, supernatural intuition, which spiders do, I guess. I don't know. All right, you shouldn't have. I see. You shouldn't have. Oh, gee, or something. Someone gives you a gift, and you say, you shouldn't have. It might be spelled a different way, so let's check the crosses. No, it is spelled this way, because if you need to pay, you owe. If you're overly involved, you're fussy or messy or something like that. Subject covered in a madrasa, Islam. Okay, well, there we go. So school. And then overly involved is messy. What does that mean? Like a person is overly involved, they're messy, they're kind of don't have their affairs in order, or can't tell if it's referring metaphorically to a person or literally to a situation. Maybe if the situation's very involved, it's messy. That could be it as well. Okay, to prepare for a kiss, perhaps, to lean in, maybe. And then actress Juliet. Actress Juliet. I can't think. Hoppy initials. So hops made in beer production, and a very hoppy variety of beer would be an IPA, an India Pale Ale. Very bitter. Cause of some head scratching. Not sure. I'm scratching my head about this one. If one appreciated as a joke, one got it, maybe? This looks like it ends in ing. Sign of an injury, maybe. Swelling? Yeah, swelling could be the sign of an injury. There we go. And depot abbreviation, so in the sense of a train station, for instance, depot, STN for station. And R2's well-spoken partner. This is the droid from Star Wars, and his companion is 3PO, C-3PO, spelled out in this manner. Okay, so, right, here, this says eventually, when something like that, anyway. Measure of energy savings as when the meter runs in reverse. Measure of energy saving. Net something? Cause of some head scratching. Knit as in, like literally picking nits out of your hair? That could be it. And then, so little insects. Negawatt. Interesting. I've never heard this word before. Is that literally a negative watt? So -1 watts is a negawatt. That's interesting. It makes sense that there would be a unit for that. So you're generating energy rather than consuming it. And then actress Juliette Lewis, I guess. I don't think I recognize the name. Literature Nobelist Toni Morrison, I certainly do recognize that name. So is ergo. So this is the case, therefore, ergo. And then this is when the time times, I don't know. Can't quite see it. I'm finding it hard to infer these, as it turns out. Cured Spanish meat. Oh, jamón, ham. Like jamón ibérico, for instance. Okay, there we go. So, crown in Persian is Taj. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, there we go. That makes sense. And so, does that give me anything else? When the time comes. Should have thought of that immediately. When the time comes, and we spelled it out in this loop-de-loop manner. So then S goes here. Here we have Adolf, who purchased the New York Times in 1896. Oakes, I do recognize that name as a owner of the New York Times. Okay, depression precursor. Depression precursor. Not quite sure. Blank Harbor, Florida. I still don't think I recognize this at all. Cultured dessert. Okay, I have to finish this crossword somehow. 1957, hit by the Edsels, right. Okay. Brotherly greeting. Something man. So man. Doesn't really seem very plausible. But I do want this to be an M and this to be an A. Oh, is it Rama Lama Ding Dong? Maybe? So depression precursor. Oh, a crash, as in, right, okay, so for instance, a stock market crash could precede an economic depression. Okay, there we go, should have thought of that. Cultured dessert option, TCBY? Oh, because that's frozen yogurt. Yes, okay, TCBY is a frozen yogurt chain. And then Bal Harbor, Florida, I guess. Okay, I don't recognize it. Man. Still feels like I'm doing something wrong here. Resolve. It could be a noun, resolve. It could be you've got resolve, you've got mettle, you've got sort of strength. That would make this my man. There we go. And then TCBY is correct. Wow, okay. I really threw myself off quite some time ago with this one, with resolve. That's fascinating that seemed like a completely plausible alternative. And there we go. Interesting. So yeah, a kind of puzzle that was at times I found very straightforward, and at times I found very tricky. It really swung wildly for me in that regard. And let's look at our revealer here, which is, again, as we had earlier this week, placed precisely where we would expect to find it, as specified by Lyell's law. It's here in the cross clues bordering the eastern perimeter of the grid and 3 cells north of the southern perimeter. And it reads upside-down parts of a roller coaster ride represented twice in the answer to each of this puzzle's starred clues, which are loop-de-loops, and we have several of those. We have them twice per theme answer, so 6 in total. And we spell out this, that, and the other, or that and there. We spell out Ramalama Ding Dong, or Ramading. And finally, we spell out when the time comes, or what times. And there we go. We've constructed our 6 loop-de-loops across 3 theme answers. Very nice. I think I might have seen this kind of thing maybe once or twice before. But it's impressive to find all of these examples of phrases that actually, are able to be put into this pattern of loop-de-looping. It's well done. And there we have it. That was the Thursday crossword. And now I'm going to read some clues from yesterday's crossword because there were several. Let's see. So, okay. So I think the most popular comment regarding the nature of yesterday's theme was from Instant Fizz, so I'll read their comment. They say, here's my take. Crossed a bear gives us the clue that the other three phrases in the puzzle should be read in a fluent manner so we get the three phrases. Ready to rock, time to get up, and back to work when spoken quickly. All three of these things happen to be a cross to bear. We may not want to get out of bed or go to work, or we just can't help that when the rock comes in, we're ready for it. These are crosses to bear. Additionally, each of the three cross clues intersect or cross a down bear clue. Ready to rock crosses Teddy and so forth. They literally cross a bear. I solved the puzzle on my own, but came to watch the video to see what others thought of it. The multi-layered theme really only sunk in after listening to Chris try and sort it out. Though a little convoluted, it's actually pretty clever. I think that's a fair enough interpretation. I mean, I definitely, the crossing the bears bit literally, certainly observed at the time, and I think your notion around sort of bearing a cross being represented in the other clues, fair enough. I don't have a better idea. That sounds good to me. So there we go. Thank you to Instant Fizz. Jacob Bodway explains OSU would actually be the Oklahoma State. Would it be Oklahoma State University, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, not Ohio State University or whatever I incorrectly said. Stephen Giblin adds, Ohio State University would be the Buckeyes, and Oregon State University would be the Beavers. So there we have it. Thank you for that correction. Speaking of Stephen Giblin, he points out, according to the wordplay column for today's puzzle, the crossing answers have little relevance to the revealer. Okay, well, there's another take. And with respect to Boo Boo from Yogi Bear, I would simply describe him as Yogi's sidekick. I don't think there's a familial relationship. And Papus Man replies with calling, from Wikipedia, Boo Boo Yogo's constant companion, in quotes. Excuse me. Dragon Traces observes, excusez-moi, mais le mot français monde se prononce monde et non mande. So this is pointing out that I mispronounced. I think I said something like le monde or something like that when I was referring to the world in French. It is le monde, and I was not speaking with a proper French pronunciation in that case. And finally, Dragon Traces also points out, Smokey Bear is just Smokey Bear, not Smokey the Bear. Whoops, sorry about that as well. All right, that is it for today's video, today's puzzle, today's crossword. I will be back tomorrow for a themeless Friday puzzle, so do join me then. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.